Hey guys, Pickle here. Want to tell you about our 2018 draft loadout, which is going to be packed full of fantasy football help and knowledge to make you successful at your fantasy football draft as well as in season. You can get your pre-order currently on the Average Joe Nation via our Patreon account. Make sure you sign up there and get yourself pre-ordered. All right, let's get into today's show.
Welcome, Average Joe Nation from around the globe. Props to you for staying up to date and keeping in the know. With fantasy football, man, very soon you'll reign. The knowledge that these three guys have, man, it is insane. Fantasy football talk, hateful eight, they wear the crown. Hold it down, Pickle, Blackburn, and Trimboli, hold it down. Pulling up to LB Design Studio, we're getting loud. Season 2, headphones on, red light, go, break it down.
Welcome back to the Hateful Eight Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm not even going to make it through the show. With your host, I'm Pickle, and with me, as always, Fantasy Football Princess of the Day, Blackburn.
Hello.
And Trimboli.
What's going on?
Jeez. This week, we will be mentioning some fantasy football news, answering some of the questions from you, the listeners, and today is the second mock draft of the offseason, mock draft Mayhem. This time we're going to be doing the PPR format. We did it on the SleeperBot app and website, which was actually really comfortable and easy going and made it easy for all parties involved to be able to draft through it. So
that's the only way to mock draft.
it is. I
like it a lot.
I was glad that we picked that round or that platform to try it out. So shout out to SleeperBot on that one. As always, don't forget to follow the show's Facebook and Twitter accounts at the Hateful 8FF. And anything else before we get into the fantasy news and notes?
Let's roll.
Let's do it.
There was one guy. He made some comment, and I don't have the comment in front of me. He said, "I love the fantasy news and notes comment or the audio." He said it's like caramel rolling over my ears in my headphones when I'm listening to your show. And I was like, I actually have never heard it described like that, but just saying. Randomness. All right. Anyways.
Melted Twix over my head.
Melted Twix.
Oh.
All right. Let's get into
Never mind.
let's get into the fantasy news and notes.
Yeah.
Fantasy news and notes.
All right, fantasy news and notes presented by Body Armor Super Drink, superior hydration for today's athlete. Check them out at drinkbodyarmor.com or your local convenience store where they could be purchased. First one out the gate, Falcons quarterback Matt Ryan did agree to a 5-year, $150 million contract.
That's crazy.
Hey.
It is, but like we said, Stafford was the stepping block for the quarterbacks, and we're going to see, unfortunately for Matt Ryan, he had to be the next one to lay down on the sword because Aaron Rodgers is going to get some serious cash, and I'm not sure anybody's going to get more than him.
They shouldn't.
Well, just
to be
right
honest.
now.
Yeah.
Listen, Flacco got paid at one. Same idea.
Yeah, and what's he done since?
Well, nothing. I don't mean that. I didn't mean he should have got paid that, but I'm saying he got paid. It's just whose ever turn it is next, they're the guys that luck into the contract.
Oh, split ends. This is crazy.
Well, for a guy who doesn't normally have to worry about worry about his hair. I want to say worry and hair at the same time. Worry about his hair.
Normally, no.
Normally, no. So,
But yeah, Aaron Rodgers, I think it's going to be record-setting, and then
it's going to be probably like
they'll
fully
have to
guaranteed.
They'll have to cap it at that. You can't keep paying every quarterback who comes up for money the highest.
Aaron Rodgers, $255 million guaranteed
All
for
guaranteed.
2 years. So, yeah, that's crazy though. But good job for Matt Ryan to get paid, and I mean he has been successful the past couple years. So
yeah.
So I think he's deserving of it. But on to the next one. Miami Dolphins did end up claiming ex-Jets quarterback Bryce Petty off of waivers. So they just continue to dogpile the dog crap of quarterbacks in that quarterback room.
I'd rather pay the $150 than have to deal with any of this.
True story.
Whatever this is.
Tannehill's not going to finish the season.
Brock
You
Weiler's
got
there.
Brock Weiler there.
And now you got Brady.
Brady?
No. Bryce Petty. Not related to, what's the NASCAR guys?
Richard Petty?
Richard Petty. Not related to the Petty family of the NASCAR world, but
I
either
bet
way.
Richard throws a better spiral.
I bet he probably does, like Uncle Rico. It's going to be a rough day.
Just look over there. It can't be rough.
I know. Last show I was saying it's hard to not look over here, and I'm going to say it again, but this time for different reasons because I'm going to lose it if I keep looking over at Blackburn. All right, Carolina Panthers signed running back C.J. Anderson to a 1-year deal. Now, it is depth behind Christian McCaffrey, obviously, with Curtis Artis-Payne still being your backup, but with Fozzie Whitaker's news coming out today that he in a non-contact drill tore his ACL. He's done. He's on IR, which means he's probably done for the year.
That's rough.
But I will agree with Blackburn's notes. I do believe, even though C.J. Anderson, to me, he's kind of a younger version of Jonathan Stewart, what they were able to mix and mingle with Run CMC and Jonathan Stewart last year. I think C.J. Anderson will step in and kind of take some of those short goal line or those short yard runs, and they'll probably mix him in at times with CMC. But I still think Christian McCaffrey's stock, I do think it takes a hit from where initially when we did our last mock draft and over the last couple of weeks when we thought post-draft, this is the guy. They've not got anybody in. We knew that Curtis Artis-Payne was going to see something, and Fozzie Whitaker was going to see some touches as well. But we knew that CMC was going to be the bulk guy. At this point, I really don't know. Unfortunately, they brought in a true guy who is a bulldozer type running back, and that's what we thought CMC was going to see a little bit more uptick. We thought it was going to be more pass run option type stuff in the red zone with Cam Newton primarily running. But now you got C.J. Anderson in there. So, do you guys think that this takes a stock hit for CMC going forward, or do you think that, hey, I'm just gonna let it ride and hope that C.J. Anderson doesn't step in and take too much away from him?
I'm letting it ride. Listen, Jonathan Stewart last year was in this role, like you just said. He's only taking away carries. He's not going to catch the ball at the backfield. That's not what C.J. Anderson's there to do. CMC's role's there, and I think they're going to improve on it. Give him a little bit more. Now, he might not see what we thought at the beginning of the year,
Right.
But I don't think it's a huge stock hit. I mean, I wouldn't avoid him, especially in PPR formats.
Yeah. What do you think?
C.J. Anderson can catch out of the backfield, though. He did it in Denver. I think this is going to dip into CMC's value.
You think it's going to take? You think it's going to take a dive?
I think it's going to take some out of the stock. Yeah.
All right. Because I think right now he's going right around that second round.
Well, he'll still get drafted high, but I just think that they're going to be disappointed because C.J. Anderson's going to, especially in the goal line too.
True.
He's going to be taking care.
See, that was my only concern as to I don't know how far he's going to drop because of C.J. Anderson, because I think C.J. Anderson's going to take away from Cam Newton as well in the red zone in some fashion.
Well, see, the red zone's always been around Cam Newton. He's going to run it. He's personally probably going to run it more than he's going to hand it off. So that's why I didn't think C.J. Anderson's roles were really going to affect CMC.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just depends on how he is when he gets in there.
True. So. Free agent running back Terrence West visited the Eagles earlier this week. Now, obviously, we know the backfield is heavily crowded.
I don't know why, though.
Jai, Corey Clement, Darren Sproles now back, and Wendell Smallwood. I can't figure out why we're bringing in another running back into the mix. I understand you want depth, but you've got depth. You're now just like putting guys on the practice squad at this point.
Yeah, I mean,
who?
If they sign Terrence West, it's either Wendell Smallwood or Corey Clement's out.
Right. I mean,
and Clement played a good role.
I couldn't
last year.
see Corey Clement being out.
Well, then it's Smallwood. He's got to be out of there. They're not going to cut Darren Sproles.
No,
Right.
Sproles has got his own little niche of what he does in the offense, so it's got to be Smallwood, odd man out, unfortunately. And to build on,
is any of this special teams related? I mean,
Terrence
West
don't
not.
play unless Smallwood's.
That's what I meant. Is Smallwood more special teams related?
That's why I kind of looked at Sproles too, though. But
He's their kick and punt returner.
I don't know.
So then maybe that's what West is there to do. All running back depth. The other ones can go to
special teams, I guess. I don't
but
know.
who has depth on special teams?
Nobody. Apparently, the Eagles want depth at the special teams.
Well, listen,
position.
hey, they won it all last year, so maybe they know what they're doing.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. But to me, to build off of that, and the question is, does that, in your opinion, hurt or help Jai's stock? I mean, I don't think it helps his stock if they do bring in Terrence West.
I mean, I think he's going to be the number one guy, obviously, but I just think they're going to be a committee.
It still is. I agree with you. I think it's going to be a committee in some fashion. I don't know if it's a 50-50 between Ajayi and Corey Clement, and Sproles comes in on certain passing formations and whatever else, but
I don't like it.
I don't like. For fantasy purposes, I'm steering clear of all the running backs in the Eagles' backfield at this point. Unfortunately,
Yeah, it's too crowded.
It's looking like Seattle's from a couple years ago.
Right.
Yep.
So no, thank you. New Orleans Saints cut the tight end Kobe Fleener. Yes, that is true. They did cut eighth wonder of the world, Kobe Fleener.
Hey, your guy Ben Watson now.
It is Ben Watson's show.
I mean, last time he was with the Saints, he had a career year.
Right. So
Yeah, what is he now, like 40?
yeah, I mean, he's older,
it
but
doesn't even matter at this
he's
point.
still going to be more productive than Kobe Fleener.
This is true.
Watch.
I can't argue that.
So
Watch.
Kobe Fleener no longer on the Saints, which is probably good for the Saints. Unfortunately, Kobe
It's a
Fleener,
shame, yeah.
it just never translated. I mean, he's really talented coming out of Stanford there with luck and everything. I mean, he did really well. It's just, I don't know. It just never translated to the NFL for some odd reason. And, I mean, you see talented guys every once in a while. You see that happen with guys where it just does not transfer to the NFL for some reason. So, and the big one of the week, New Orleans Saints running back Mark Ingram has been suspended for 4 games for PEDs. It is official. He did do his compliance and filed the paperwork and all that, and they immediately shot it down and said, no, you're done.
Right.
That was quick.
Which I cracked up because there was a comment from Mark Ingram saying, I had a pass or I had an excuse or something like that. And
Well, it's a substance what he tested positive for. It's a substance that if you have an exemption, you're allowed to take.
He said he had an exemption.
Oh, well.
However, my best guess is if he did, they wouldn't have so quickly denied it.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not calling Mark Ingram a liar. I'm just saying he may have got word of mouth exemption versus a physical doctor form saying exemption.
You know what I was thinking about? If this was baseball, if we had the baseball
Yeah.
terms, this would have been like all year drug out. He would have played.
Yeah.
Instead, now it's football. It's 1 day. It's
Right.
like literally 8 hours.
Well, I think unfortunately post the Ezekiel Elliott situation last year, I think that Goodell and his
Well, I just meant
guys.
just with the PED issue.
Well, right. I just in general, I mean, I think they're cracking down on making sure that they get these guys their sentences handed down very quickly for this exact reason, especially since of the off season they didn't want to lingering all off season. So,
Right.
But obviously the immediate running back to start is going to be Alvin Kamara, and we've got stock is definitely rising here.
Yeah, big time. Did you see their first 4 games?
Yeah. So yeah.
Giants, Bucks, Falcons, and Cleveland.
Love it.
2 of those are home games.
Wow.
Well, and how about this? You know what makes it even go to me more? So Mark Ingram will be available in week 5. They have a bye week in 6.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So he's
So I mean, Mark Ingram.
he's missing 5 games.
So essentially, you're not getting them till week 7.
Right.
Yeah. No, thank you.
See it?
And
Basically-
his ADP still, he's going to dip down.
If his ADP, I'll
It's
put it this
early
way.
right now. That's
Where
why it
it's
hasn't dipped yet.
Right. My thing is his current ADP. Kamara was going middle to end of the first round, in standard or PPR. Ingram was going right around 3rd round comfortably, late 2nd, early 3rd. My thing is, I'm not if we were to draft today, which we did in the mock draft, I can't even look at Ingram as a potential roster spot until maybe rounds 5 or 6 at this point. And that's just me because it's automatic 4 games, and like we said, then he plays 1 game, and then it's a bye week. So you're really getting him for 1 week. By that point, you know he's not going to be ready for that one little game. More than likely, I could be wrong. I could see the Saints saying, "Hey, Mark, take this week that we're playing, week 5. I know it's your first full week back that you're allowed to be here on the premises and practice and everything. We're gonna just basically let you practice all week, get reacclimated, get some game time, speed, whatever you got to do." And we're going to let Alvin continue on. Now, if Alvin is struggling at that point, then I could see them pushing Ingram back into the starting role. But ultimately, if Kamara does what we're all expecting him to do and just take this and never look back,
Run with it.
run with it. There you go.
Look at that.
See?
It just happens.
It's all about the hair.
It is. It's all about the hair.
Flowing
today.
locks over there.
So I think that if Kamara does just run with it, no pun intended, I think Ingram might. I think Ingram's days are numbered. I mean, it's the last year of his contract. I don't expect them to re-sign him. And you had said that in your personal opinion, you said that you thought that there's a good chance he might get traded at some point.
Absolutely. Like you said, he's not coming back till week 7. Trade deadline's week 8.
So think about for fantasy purposes on this. I mean, can you roster Ingram and hold him that long? Even if it's just trade bait, 'cause that's what I thought about, because I'm always heavy early running back, so I thought maybe Ingram would fall to me. But even I have to wait 7 weeks, basically 7 weeks, so or try to fire him off maybe
half
at
the
week
year.
4, to a team that does a heavy wide receiver, thinking
Right.
maybe I'll get a receiver back. Still, I mean, that's 4 weeks at least you're sitting on him.
It depends on how you draft. If you go heavy running back and you can afford to take him at the 4th or 5th round and just stash for playoff run, go for it.
I mean, let's just put it this way. Last year, specifically for like Ezekiel Elliott, was a top 5 running back prior to the issue, and then once it came out in the 6 games, his ADP took a dip, but not even. I mean, he was getting drafted right around the end of the 1st, beginning of the 2nd, comfortably ADP wise. I'm just saying that was where his comfortable ADP
But
was.
he's the sole running back in
Correct.
Dallas.
I think that's why you're going to see
and a top 4 running back.
right, and I think that's why everybody's like, oh well, Ingram. I heard somebody in one of the chats I was looking at make a comment saying, "Oh, Ingram's ADP won't get affected that much. Zeke's ADP didn't get that bad." And I'm like, And I made the point to, like you said, I was thinking immediately, like, well, Ingram is sharing carries 50-40 or 60-40 with Kamara last year. Zeke was never going to be sharing carries with anyone going into the year.
Thing is, though, is Zeke's was up in the air, his suspension at the time of drafting.
Yeah, Ingram's
so
is already done.
It wasn't official. Yeah, Ingram's is done. We know it's 4 games. We know it's the first 4.
Right.
Where Zeke's was still up in the air. You don't know when you're going to get it, so why pass on a first-round running back?
Right.
If you can get him how about flip it? What if Ingram was suspended after the first 4 weeks?
Right. I don't know.
Does that affect his ADP?
I don't know.
See, I think he's still valuable then right away.
Yeah. I mean, I just think that Blackburn put a note in here that they did end up drafting the Saints. In the 6th round, they drafted the Louisiana Tech running back, Boston Scott. So I see him pretty much sliding in to be that backup to Kamara.
Steve Weiss also said yesterday on NFL Network that they weren't going to bring any other veteran running backs because there was talk of maybe DeMarco Murray or Adrian Peterson possibly coming in because Adrian's already familiar there.
True.
And they shot that down and said, no, we don't plan on bringing any veterans in. We're going to roll with what we got. So they're going to be getting that
heavy doses of Kamara.
Boston Scott and Kamara, yeah.
Man. Yeah, well, I will tell you right now, to me, Kamara now bumps up. He might – I mean, I had him right around anywhere from 5 to 7, depending on the draft. I saw him going running back wise. I could see him going. He could be competing for 4 right now with David Johnson.
Him and DJ are fighting it out
for 4 at this point. At 4 or 5.
3.
Yeah, listen, I like Zeke a lot, so I'm still having him ahead of Kamara and DJ. But yeah, he's right. I think he could
especially
even fight that 3
PPR.
spot.
Yeah,
right. I mean, wow. I mean, if you're sitting at the 3rd spot in a PPR and you normally draft running backs, you're sitting pretty all the way to 5 or 6. Right. I mean, you really think about it when we'll look at our mock draft. I mean, when you're looking at it, you go from 3. I mean, Bell, Gurley are going 1 and 2 pretty consistently.
Right.
Zeke, David Johnson, Brown, Hopkins. These guys.
You're looking at Antonio Brown possibly at number 6.
Right.
Hopkins at 7. You're loving that.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it just depends on how your draft goes, and I mean, we'll show the different draft styles and how that can affect your own draft. But I think that's all we got. Is that the last one of the day?
I think there's actually one more.
Okay, we got Brandon Marshall. I forgot about him, and most people probably did as well.
He is still in the league.
He is. Visited the Seahawks earlier this week. He would pretty much. I didn't even see your note till just now, but I was gonna say he could potentially fall into that Jimmy Graham red zone threat for Wilson. So I like it. I would like it if he got signed there. I think he's still not fantasy worthy at this moment for me to take.
Well, not high, but I mean he could be a late round sleeper guy.
Right, he could be. I mean,
who they got there? Tyler Lockett.
Well, I only like it for Baldwin because I'm high on Baldwin this year.
I say for PPR purposes, I think it helps Baldwin and Wilson. Obviously, as the quarterback, I think it bumps up his abilities. But Brandon Marshall, I agree with you. He would be a late round pick, like 8th, 9th round for me to feel comfortable drafting purposes. But
that should be my quarterback round, so I don't know.
Oh man, Brandon Marshall, your quarterback for the draft. That could be a tough decision. So, all right, we've got some listener questions in the next segment, so let's go ahead and get into that.
Take it or leave it.
All right, take it or leave it. The listener questions we've got for today is going to be, first one is MGNYC. I'm assuming he's a Giants fan. But says, what rookie wide receiver are worth drafting in redrafts? So I'm assuming he means like just your everyday starter, not your startup rookie dynasty drafts. So he's just talking about just standard redrafts. It doesn't give you a PPR whatever standard style or half. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, for me, if it's a 10-man league, I don't know if really anyone. Maybe DJ Moore.
I would say Ridley and Moore might be towards like the back end of the draft, but I mean, I don't see. I mean, none of those guys are the starter,
right?
So, like specifically Calvin Ridley, he's got Julio Jones in front of him. So
and Sanu.
I mean, eventually he's probably gonna jump Sanu. Let's be honest with where they drafted him. But like DJ Moore, we said he's gonna eventually be probably the wide receiver 1 at some point in the year over Funchess. So my biggest thing is for him, I would say maybe him and I guess Ridley and Moore would probably be my 2 picks if I had to take in a redraft right out the gate.
Well, let me add to his question. Let's make it a 12-man league PPR.
I would say yes, but it would probably be somewhere in like rounds.
Well, you adding anyone? That's what I'm asking.
Am I adding anyone into the group?
So it's PPR. It's 12 teams. You adding any more than those two?
Maybe Christian Kirk out of Texas A&M.
Yeah, that's okay.
I like Kirk a lot.
I would say he's like
good
right on the
landing spot.
bubble.
Well, for PPR standards, right?
He's
in
on
a good spot.
He's in a good fit, yeah.
Right.
What about your boy in Dallas, Gallup?
I like Gallup, but I don't like him as a draft pick.
Okay.
I think I like him as like a waiver pickup. Like I didn't draft a defense, and I drafted him like literally the last pick of the 15th round or something like that, just to see where he comes out of the rookie camp and everything.
You still need a defense.
You would, but I'm just saying you pick rounds 14 and 15. You don't take a defense or a kicker, and
He can't play defense.
He cannot.
Well, here, I'll give a couple more names, see what you guys say on this. Dante Pettis or Anthony Miller. Any value there for redraft?
Miller.
Pettis, yes.
I would say Pettis would be over Miller in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
So I would say top 4 for me would be in no particular order. I guess Ridley and Moore kind of go hand in hand. I think DJ Moore is going to be over the career wise. I think he's going to be better. I just think that right out the gate, I think because of the offensive style that they're in, I think Calvin Ridley is going to see more opportunities right out the gate because Matt Ryan's going to want to throw the ball a little bit more, and I think Julio's going to dictate a little bit more double coverage where, let's be honest, most people are not worried about Funchess. So I think that...
Well, see, that's what I think that makes your point right there. Why I think Moore's got more value than Ridley.
Right. Well, maybe I talked myself out of it.
You can say the same thing for Kirk, too.
Man, I really
Double
wish we could put something on this.
Double teams at Fitzgerald.
Right.
Kirk's going to be there.
Man, yeah. I mean, I guess for sure in a standard... I would just say standard league. I think that right out the gate, Ridley and Moore, I think you can draft them in your redraft leagues. Kirk would be right on that bubble of yes and no towards the end, and then Gallup, Miller, Pettis. I think those are guys are like, I don't want to call them like first waiver wire pickups, but I think they're right there at that first pickup of guys. If somebody like a Cameron Meredith you drafted and he gets hurt in a preseason game and now you're like, oh crap, I got to pick somebody up. Those guys are somebody that you can immediately pick up and set them on your bench and say, okay, I wasn't planning on playing Cameron Meredith as a flex at best. I got Pettis now. I can play him or Gallup or whoever else. I can sit them as a potential bye week or flex play at some time throughout the year. So
Sounds good.
That's at least my thought process. But let's see, ID Sandridge. I'm hoping maybe he says I'd eat the sand. I don't know.
I want a sandwich though.
I was to say
I'd eat the sandwich.
I'd eat the sandwich. I like it. Okay. Who's the better second year back in PPR, Kamara or Hunt? To answer the first question, to me, I think Kamara's got more upside now with no Ingram for the first 4 games.
I think even with Ingram, it's Kamara.
Well, I think it made him closer, if that makes sense. But I think that Kamara takes more. I guess I still had Kamara above Hunt, but I think this makes the gap bigger between them with no Ingram now, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Listen, I agree with the guy in dress right now.
Here you go.
Kamara was it, even without
the fantasy football princess, Blackburn, has spoken. Kamara is the leader. So, now, and he also wrote, I know most people want to jump on Kamara, but Andy Reid did say that he's going to get Kareem more involved in the pass game, and he doesn't share a backfield with Mark Ingram. Now, he did write this. I think he wrote this right before the incident of Mark Ingram coming out of being suspended, so that news-wise. But I think if we take it prior to, I still think, like we said, Kamara is a better pick in my opinion, just by I don't want to say like, well, you know what? I'll say by a football length. How about that? We'll use a football terminology. By a football length, like the chains.
Like that ref last year who took the piece of paper.
Yeah, he's a no card. Down. He's a no card ahead. How about that?
It's official.
It's official. But yeah, so.
Well, see, for me, it's the Spencer Ware effect's going to take Hunt's fantasy value potentially down. Now, coming out, he was going to be the starter.
He was supposed to be.
He gets hurt, doesn't play the whole year.
Right.
So we don't even know what his, how he's going to affect him.
Well, I think it's funny because last year at this time we were talking about how Spencer Ware was going to be the guy, but how much is Hunt going to take the value away from Ware?
Right.
Now we're looking at literally the exact same situation, but in reverse, where Hunt is the guy, but now you've got Ware who potentially is going to take some sort of value away. And I think what we talked about last year was we figured that Ware was still going to be the main back, probably going to see somewhere around 60 to 70% of the snaps and touches, but we figured that Hunt would figure in somewhere halfway through the season. I think that's what you're going to see. I think Ware might get dialed in a little bit more just because he knows the offense, he's comfortable, he's not coming in as a rookie.
Right.
Well, here's the thing. I wrote some stats down from last year.
Yeah.
Okay, Kamara didn't even play till like week 4, right?
Right.
And then when he did play, he was splitting carries with Ingram. So this was the final stats for the year. Kamara had 728 yards
Yes.
and 8 touchdowns rushing.
Okay.
826 yards receiving and 5 touchdowns.
Okay.
Kareem Hunt had 1,327 yards, 8 touchdowns, 455 receiving yards, and 3 touchdowns. Kamara ended with 233 fantasy points. Hunt 242.
Okay. Now, to me, we also
9 points.
right, and what we also talked about is Ingram was there, and Ingram finished
Right.
like 7th or 8th.
Right.
So, to me, if you're looking across the board, if you take all the pieces and put them together, he didn't start till what, week 5 or 6? We said.
He didn't start until week 5.
Okay, so week 5. So we're looking at week 5. He had Ingram in the backfield with him.
Right.
We also found out he actually only saw 40% of the snaps and touches.
Right.
So he didn't even see a full 50% of the workload like Hunt saw literally the workload of
All year.
for Kansas City. So
And still finished only 9 points ahead.
right. I know a lot of people are saying that they're expecting some sort of regression and step back from Kamara, but I mean, unless he gets injured or in some fashion the Saints offense tanks, I don't see how he can take a step back based on what he's about to take in from the offensive standpoint and being the guy for the first 4 to 5 games for sure.
Right.
So
I agree.
Sorry, I just couldn't read there for a second.
it's okay. It happens to me all the time.
It's the hair.
It's the hair,
It get in your eyes, didn't it?
the Viking hair.
My braids are too tight.
Got to get that taken care of. Dan2MC writes, rank these running backs outside of the Gurley, Bell, DJ Zeke stack. So he's putting those 4 guys in his top 4. So he's saying Kamara worth the 6th overall pick.
Yes.
Yes. And then the follow-up is who to take with when you're sitting there with Gordon, Hunt, Fournette, and he put the rise of Barkley, CMC, and Cook. So I'm going to take, when he says rank them, I'm assuming Kamara's worth 6, yes. So,
Yes.
Okay, so outside of Kamara, we're looking at Gordon, Hunt, Fournette, Barkley, CMC, and Cook. How are you ranking, I guess, how would you rank, who would you put first?
I got Hunt, Fournette, Gordon, Barkley, Cook, CMC in that order.
I was going to say, I've got Hunt, Fournette, and I've got, with C.J. Anderson's arrival, I now put Gordon in the 3, I got CMC 4, Cook 5, and I got Barkley at 6.
Man, you don't like Barkley that much. What'd you put Barkley at again?
I got Barkley at 9.
Well,
What do you mean?
out of these guys, so in the order that we had them at, you had Hunt,
Okay,
Fournette.
if we're doing it that way, I got Hunt 1,
Yeah.
Fournette 2, Gordon 3,
Yeah.
Barkley 4,
Ooh.
Cook 5, CMC 6.
Okay.
See, I took Fournette, Hunt, Barkley, Gordon.
Man, I must be really low on Barkley.
And
apparently,
actually-
the group.
Probably by the start of the season, it might be Cook even a little higher than that.
Yeah.
I just
I'm
don't.
all in on Dalvin.
Yeah, I like Dalvin Cook, but I follow the Vikings close, and they're saying it's going to be a split with Latavius
Man, that's
because they don't want to. Yeah, they don't want to put that full workload back on him again.
especially coming off the injury that he
Right.
sustained.
Sure.
That makes
and
sense.
he proved to do well last year in Cook's absence. So,
And there is no more Jerick McKinnon.
but I like
so
Cook a lot. I just think that it's going to be a split.
He got the raw deal. I mean, he got hurt when he was hot. And I think that's what stinks. No? Sorry. Maybe I said it out of context. He was on a streak of good fantasy football production. How about that? What
Yes.
will I say? And he
I
got
like
hurt.
it.
So,
I like it. I like it.
anyways, you guys suck. Anyways.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go ahead and get into the final segment of today. It's going to be the mock draft mayhem presented by Fantasy Fate Ball.
Time to play the game.
Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Enough, I get the point.
This is Mock Draft Mayhem.
All right, mock draft mayhem presented by Fantasy Fate Ball, the one and only Magic 8 Ball for fantasy football. 20 custom answers to help you make those critical start-sit decisions. In the Sunday morning agony, head over to fantasyfateball.com and use our promo code HATEFUL8 for $5 off your purchase. So, All right, so we did our sleeper bot. We did the sleeper bot mock draft this week, and I can honestly give them a kudos. That was made things so much easier. You could pause it if you needed to. You could set however many the clock, and
It's real smooth.
it was. So whether it was on the app or whether it was website, it did work very smoothly. And the fact is, the computer did draft very well, which made it nice and easy for us, and kind of put us in binds at times, kind of like what you would experience in your own fantasy draft.
Right.
So
I like it.
all right, so the way we went about it is we chose different draft strategies. I went with the no running back strategy, so I was not able to draft a running back until the 4th round at the earliest. Trimboli went with the no wide receiver, so he couldn't draft a running back until the earliest at round 4. And Blackburn over here took the best available approach, which that's surprisingly enough, that's most of your people draft-wise. But yeah, so we went ahead, and it's kind of interesting to see how your team starts forming and/or completely hitting the iceberg like the Titanic, and you're just sinking, and you're just like, oh gosh, this can't get any worse. Oh wait, no, it just did in that round. So,
For the record on Titanic, there was room on that door for Jack to get on. Rose could have scooted over.
she was stingy with that door.
She was. That was crap.
And that's your 90s moment right there. There it is. He brought in the 90s moment. I appreciate it. So
Poor Jack.
Poor Jack. I'll never let go. Yeah, she let go. She lied.
Frozen.
Anyway,
Let it go. Get
Let
it.
it-
Ah, yeah, look at that.
It's the dress, man. It's the
it's
dress.
all about the
I
dress.
told you
kinda look-
my braids are too tight.
Listen, you're splitting image of Elsa right now.
Splitting image of Elsa. Right? You got a combo of like
it's,
Elsa.
it's the next day, Elsa.
Yeah, right. You've got
It's
Elsa.
Elsa. The night after.
Yeah.
The post party night.
Listen, if I'm waking up next to that, I'm chewing my arm off. Don't wake it.
No. Oh my gosh. All right,
Yes.
let's get into the draft portion of the mock draft mayhem. All right, so I was the 4th round or the 4th overall pick. Then Blackburn came in with the 5th overall pick, and you took the 6th overall pick. So
Right.
we didn't want to like show you, oh well, the first pick, the middle pick, and the last pick. So that way there wasn't any discrepancies. People can't say, hey, well, if you were in the first pick doing the no PPR, no wide receivers or whatever,
no wide receiver.
or no running backs, you would have done better if you were in the back end of the draft or the middle or whatever. So this way we went 4, 5, and 6. So literally you're right next to each other pick wise. So no big deal. So I ended up taking DeAndre Hopkins because at that point, obviously, it was either between Antonio Brown or Hopkins. Personal preference, I went with Hopkins, but I know that might cause some flack to some people who
this
did not.
guy right here.
I was like, when I took Hopkins, Trimboli was like,
I looked at him and I was like, what?
Well,
Right.
because I know I'm strapped over here. I can't take a receiver.
he can't take the receiver that he would have taken at that spot normally in his own draft style, but
Well, normally he would take a running back.
this is true.
However, if Antonio Brown's sitting there,
at the 5th
he's
pick,
grabbing Antonio Brown.
so all right. Well, who did you end up taking at the 5th overall
I
pick?
thought about Antonio Brown as well, but then I looked over and seen lonely old David Johnson sitting there, so I decided to grab him.
The forgotten one, David Johnson.
DJ's gone.
So then you took the 6th overall pick and took who?
I took Alvin Kamara. He
like
made
it.
my decision easy because he took DJ. That would have been the two I would have tossed up between.
So I liked it. I mean, Alvin Kamara, we talked about it earlier. We said he's probably going to be a top 5 pick, more than likely at this point. So, let's see. So then we came around on the snake. You ended up in the 2nd round, picked out of the first out of us 3 correct.
Right.
So who did you take?
I wanted Gordon or Cook to come back to me, but that didn't happen. So instead, I took CMC.
Not a bad spot.
like it.
He was the best running back available at that point, so it makes
Absolutely.
sense. So who did you end up taking in the 2nd round?
After that, I took Jordan Howard. To me, was the best running back available, so I just snagged him.
That's not bad at all.
No, I'm sorry.
No,
I'm skipped around.
you skipped around.
Devontae Freeman.
I was wondering about that
So okay, so you did take. So you got Devonta Freeman in
Yeah, I
the
got
second
David
round.
Johnson in the first and Devontae
because
Freeman
you made
in
it
the
easy
second.
for me in the first and hard in the second. Because I
There it
wasn't
was.
sure if I wanted to take Devontae Freeman over CMC.
This is
Yeah.
true. That's
so,
what it was.
So I got David Johnson and Freeman.
There you go. Okay, so that's not bad though. Sitting at DJ and you got Devonta Freeman, who's probably going to be a serious, the bulk ball carrier like we saw. And we know Sarkisian loves to throw the ball to the running backs and or use the running backs in every way possible. So
Yep.
that's not bad. So then I came around to the 2nd round and I got Michael Thomas because obviously I was taking another wide receiver. And he's the main guy there in the Saints offense. Him and Kamara are going to be, I think, vying for yards and touchdowns throughout the season. So I think Kamara was actually the leading reception person or player amongst everybody, and only Michael Thomas was like right behind him by a couple of receptions. But still.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, and with no Ingram, I think you're going to continue to see more volume with Thomas, and I think you're going to see more volume with Kamara. So I think it's a good spot B. But Hill was my snake pick on the back in the 3rd round. Now I know that you really thought I should take not Dave Baldwin. Sorry, Dave Baldwin. I don't know who you are.
Dave Baldwin.
Dave Baldwin. Doug Baldwin. But
Just preference.
It's a preference thing, no different than between Hopkins and Brown. But I like Tyreek Hill. But that's just me. I just think Patrick Mahomes is going to open the playbook and throw the ball a lot more down the field. So. Who did you take in the 3rd round?
Now we come back to best running back available, and I got Jordan Howard. So I got David Johnson, Freeman, and Jordan Howard as my running backs.
Jeez. I mean, that's perfect for not only just for your own roster, but for trade purposes, I swear.
Absolutely.
That's
I got
perfect.
some bargain running backs later on.
Right.
Kept going.
Kept going with it. All right, so who did you end up taking in the 3rd round?
I took my guy, Jerick McKinnon.
Jerick McKinnon.
I thought about him a lot. Especially in PPR, but
yeah, how quickly the ADP has risen for Jerick McKinnon post NFL draft.
Well, we said it. If 49ers didn't grab anybody in the draft that was in the first couple rounds, his stock's going up.
But at this point, there's 3 separate guys drafted and took 3 running backs first, and both were behind me or in front of me, however you want to look at it.
Right.
Blackburn being one, and then the guy who's ever in the 2 hole, he did the same thing.
Right, man.
So I mean, that's pretty deep on running back already.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's what we were talking about, saying we saw a couple guys do the no wide receiver approach like you were doing, and Blackburn took 3 running backs right off the get-go. There was 2 guys besides Blackburn that also took 3 running backs in the draft, and you still managed to get Alvin Kamara, CMC, and Jerick McKinnon.
Right.
So I know that there are people that are the running backs besides Zeke, Bell, Gurley, maybe David Johnson, Kamara, and that talk. There's really not a whole lot of depth. No, I actually think that there's more depth than people believe at the running back position. Yes, you have your tier 1 running backs, but outside of that, tier 2 is a very vast group.
Tier 2 has expanded.
Correct. I think over last year, there really was like 1 or 2 guys in tier 1, and then there was a small margin in tier 2, and then everybody else was tier 3, 4, 5, and 6. But I think we added some more people into tier 2 post last season. So
the real decision is which tier do you like better, the wide receiver tier 2 or the running back tier 2? Because that's where all your decisions are made. I'm always leaning running back.
Yeah, running back tier 2 to me is more appealing than the wide receiver tier 2.
Right.
That's why I waited to get receivers, because when I came up to get Howard at my 3rd round pick, all the big receivers were already gone.
And he's got free range.
Right. Well, and Green and obviously Hill, Thomas, and all these guys that we're looking at. I mean, those guys, big name guys, were already off the board. Baldwin. Right. So
and you can group that other tier 3, 4 guys. You can group those together.
Right.
In my opinion.
Right. And we talked about it that the running backs group from going from we'll say running back 1 to running back 2, so from anywhere that 10 to 12 mark into the 13 through 15, there's a bigger gap than wide receiver 10 to wide receiver 20. We showed that last year. The points difference is not a huge gap. So I'm always go running back heavy, but that's just my own personal preference. I mean, it was really a stretch for me to draft 3 wide receivers in a row. I was getting uncomfortable when I had to draft Tyreek Hill instead of some of the running backs I was looking at. So
yeah, I know. I bet.
I'm just glad it wasn't me, because I really wouldn't know what to do.
No, it was scary. I'm not gonna lie. I was on my own island, and it was not a fun island to be on. I didn't even have Wilson the ball because somebody else drafted him. But, anyways, that was another '90s quote. There you go. So I ended up taking Hill, and then who did you end up taking in the?
It's me.
It's you. 4th round. So
I get to finally take my first wide receiver.
Yes.
Stephon Diggs.
Nice.
I like Stephon Diggs, and I like him in the Kirk Cousin throwing circus.
He's going to spread it around, whereas Case Keenum just targeted Thielen mostly.
Right, and I think Bradford was heavy on Stephon Diggs target-wise, and that's when you saw the switch when Case Keenum came in and went straight to Adam Thielen. So I like it, but... let's see. So then, who did you end up coming around in the snake in the?
No, it's my.
It's your pick. Sorry.
Came to me in the 4th. We talked about, all the running backs, top guys were gone, and all the tier 1, tier 2 receivers were gone. So I went with one of the top tier quarterbacks on Russell Wilson.
Yeah, because prior to you, Deshaun Watson and Aaron Rodgers. It was Rodgers, then Deshaun Watson, and then you got to draft. So completely understand Russell Wilson being there. You can't pass up on a top tier quarterback at that point, in my opinion. Best available, he was the best available.
In the 4th round, yeah.
The wide receivers you were looking at, you could slide them down to the 5th, 6th round.
I was going to group all those guys down to 5 through 8.
Right, which makes total sense. So then 4th round, I took Zach Ertz because the running backs were sitting there. I just didn't feel like they were worth a 4th round pick. So I took Zach Ertz, ended up taking him as my number 1 tight end, obviously. And then coming around into the 5th round, I snaked back and took Darius Geis, the new starting running back, in my opinion, for Washington Redskins.
I love it.
So that's why I said it was kind of scary. It's
Your
kind of
number one.
My number 1 running back, which would probably never happen ever in my own personal drafting style.
That's why I don't get how anyone can do that style.
Right.
I'm just showing you. I'm not trying to say it's not good or good or bad or whatever, but I just.
No, I actually like when you took Ertz there.
Yeah.
I thought it was smart.
It was best available, and I mean, I felt like I could take Ertz in the 4th round and come back around 3 or 4 picks later and get Geis. I just felt like, based on looking at the guys' rosters that were going to be before I picked again, they weren't going to draft a running back. So
you just hit on something that everyone should be thinking about. Look at who's drafting ahead and behind you and what they need, what they don't need.
right. You know that if you're like at the tail end of the draft, if you're somewhere around 7 or 8, and the guy ahead of you took 2 guys ahead of you took quarterbacks, or the guys behind you took quarterbacks, you know on the snake they're not going to take another quarterback in the next round following that. So you have the potential where, like, you're looking at Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, and Deshaun Watson were taken right before you. So you knew on the snake when it came back, you knew that you had Russell Wilson sitting there. So that's kind of the thing you got to. I mean, I don't want to say like you forecasted, but when you're in your own personal leagues, you kind of know tendencies of drafting for the guys that you're with, unless it's a new startup league that you've never drafted with these guys before. But like our personal league, we know the style of who the guys are, like drafting before and after, depending on who the owner is. So
Right.
This will be year 5 already.
year 5 indeed. So all right. So who did you take in the
0-4 in the championship?
Yes, 0-4.
That's pretty sad.
No, you're 0-3.
0-3.
0-3.
Oh, last 3 years.
Three in a
Your
row.
last 3 in a
3
row.
in a row.
You're like the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, that sucks.
Anyways, all right, 5th round pick. Who did you take?
I decided I probably should draft a wide receiver at some point. I went ahead and got AR-15.
AR-15, not bad to be your starting wide receiver, especially since he is the starting receiver for the Chicago Bears and Mitch Trubisky. So I like it. Who did you have in the 5th round?
I went with Larry Fitzgerald. Old reliable.
Old reliable, not bad, especially in a PPR format. The guy is going to continue to be targeted a ton, and I think he's going to be Josh Rosen's BFF and his comfort blanket. Him and Ricky Seals-Jones.
Yeah.
So
In this scenario, I'm hoping he is.
yeah. All right. So who did you take coming around in the snake in the 6th round?
Again, I did exactly what Pickle did the round before. I looked behind me or ahead of me who's going to take what. So I knew a tight end was not going to be available, a top-notch one, so I went ahead and grabbed Greg Olsen.
Yeah, not
Nice.
bad.
I like
I like the pick.
Especially because I'm not really sold on my wide receivers right now. Why
Right.
not go get me a really, really good tight end?
True. I like it. I mean, we know that he's going to be featured in the offense with Newton, especially since he's going to be healthy now. So
He's his guy.
he is his guy. I mean, I think the reception, touchdowns, and everything went up for Funchess when Olsen got hurt.
Right.
So with Olsen back in, I think Olsen's going to step in and be the main wide receiver in that offense, at least red zone wise. So, who did you end up taking in the 6th round?
I stayed with the wide receiver theme here, and I took Julian Edelman.
Not bad, especially in a PPR, because
Right.
Tom Brady is going to just let him just here you go, keep going. No Amendola, no Cooks. I mean, it's him and Gronk.
Yeah.
I mean, Mitchell's there and Hogan's there, but I mean, essentially, that is his guy.
He's your chain mover.
right.
Yeah.
There you
And, in any league where guys don't listen to podcasts, they really don't do anything, just grab a book, Edelman's going to fall.
go. Right.
And he's going to be a nice pickup.
Even if he has a bad leg, you can still draft him.
True story. Happened last year.
Just saying. All right. So in the 6th round, that's inside joke.
The old DL league or
the old
injury
DL
reserve league.
That's why he
the Devin Hester. That's
why he got the
7th
Schmihol.
round. So it is
got the Schmihol.
For the fourth time?
third.
He's won a trophy every
I
year.
keep thinking we've only 4 years completed.
Correct.
He's got a trophy every year though.
So
Yeah, he's doing something right.
true. He's consistent.
Listen, he beat me in one of those championship games.
Truth. All right, in the 6th round, I took Cam Newton because based on the quarterbacks, I just knew that the quarterbacks were going to fly off the board by the next time that I got to draft in the 7th round, which it actually did because by the time I got to Juju Smith-Schuster, my 7th round pick in the snake, You had, let's see, Kurt didn't go off the board. It was
Not yet.
It was who? Drew Brees. And who was the other guys? You had. I'm drawing a blank on the quarterbacks that went off the board.
I'd have to look at the draft. I don't remember
All
the
I
draft
know
board.
is that they just
Several-
they really wanted to mess with Frank, so they
Yeah.
decided to do that.
I know there was like 3 quarterbacks that were taken off by the time.
Wasn't Jimmy G one of them?
He was.
Garoppolo. 'Cause that was-
Garoppolo, Brees.
he went
and-
early too.
Yeah.
Well, for quarterback perspective.
So, anyway, so speaking of which, so in the 7th round of the snake, I took Juju Smith-Schuster as another wide receiver. He's going to potentially be a flex play. I know it sounds bad, but Juju Smith-Schuster as your flex play is not or bench player is kind of interesting for me to have to say that, since you got Hopkins, Thomas, and Hill as your starting wide receivers. So,
All right, to finish what you just said, so it went Tom Brady, Breeze, Garoppolo before you got to pick it, Juju.
okay, so that's why. So that was what I was looking at. I was like, these guys right after me are going to be taking quarterbacks. I have a good feeling. So
8 quarterbacks have been off the board by that point.
crazy. Okay, so I ended up taking Juju Smith-Schuster. He'll be a
good
bench
pick.
and or bye week play,
Yep.
depending on or injury play, depending on if Hopkins, Thomas, or Hill were ever to get hurt. So
Or trade bait.
trade as well for a potential upgrade of a running back. Because good lord, I've got nothing but just youth at running back. So
You know what you let slide though?
who did I let slide?
Deion Lewis or Sony Michel.
I really thought Deion Lewis, but I'm still not 100% sure as to what we're going to see between Derrick Henry and Deion Lewis. The uncertainty of who's going to be the bulk and carrier and Sasquatch versus.
Well, you remember in PPR you don't need that bulk. You just need the volume of receptions.
True.
And Lewis will be that guy.
He
so will
will.
Sonny Michel.
True.
Sony Michel.
I like it.
All right. So who did you take in the 7th round?
I decided to go tight end here. It was between 2 guys. I was thinking Jordan Reed or Cameron Brate. Either of them are good.
Yes.
That was best available. But Cameron Brate's ADP was way down, so I just went Jordan Reed here in hopes that he can stay healthy. Alex Smith favors tight ends, as we've seen over the years. So
True.
I thought Jordan Reed was a good pick right here.
True. I mean, 7th round for Jordan Reed and taking a flyer on a guy who may be healthy, may not be healthy. I mean, it's not bad because at that point,
When he's healthy, he's a monster.
right.
Yep.
So you're banking on health, and if it is, great. If it doesn't, you're going to pick up a tight end. If you drafted Jordan Reed, like you said, you're going to draft a tight end somewhere in the next couple picks.
Well, like I said, the best 3 available when I came to pick Jordan Reed was Reed, Jack Doyle, and Eifert.
right. And
So I'll take my chances with Reed.
Eifert is just the same boat as situation. I just think the offense is going to be better in Washington, but. And then Doyle, we have no idea what's going on with Andrew Luck.
That's
I'm
why,
still not sold
that's
on
why
that.
I just went Reed.
So
Right.
I think you took all the positives and negatives and just added up and said, I'll take Jordan Reed. So I like it. Who did you take in the 7th round?
I took Golden Tate.
The Golden Tate. Got it.
Again, I wasn't sold on my wide receivers, so I thought I'd add more depth.
Yes.
Especially at a 2 position.
Yeah, I got you.
Does that sound right?
That's
Yes, I know what you're saying. I got you. I know what you're picking up, put you down. Got it.
And I didn't think Kirk Cousins, who's still on the board, would go. And he did.
He
With
did.
the 2 picks later.
Yes. So,
Nice.
well. All right. So who did you end up taking in the 8th round? Coming around on that snake pick.
Just when you guys think I needed that quarterback, nope, I took Rashad Penny.
I like that pick. I had him in my queue.
I mean, he's going to be the guy in Seattle.
Yeah. Again,
So-
I looked at who's behind me, and I knew you still needed a running back.
Yes.
So I was like, I'm gonna steal this one.
I
right
didn't
now.
need one, but I'm taking
No,
one.
I knew Pickle needed one.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I was like, man. So
And then I didn't know with Pandora's box over there, he can pick whatever he wants. What's gonna happen?
right, he could literally draft whatever he wanted.
I
so.
go heavy on running backs all the time. 'Cause
So-
there's injuries, there's trades, there's whatever.
Right.
So
So
I always go heavy on the positions you're gonna play more than one of. So
true. All right. All right. So who did you end up taking in the 8th
If
round?
it was between Penny. He took Penny right before me, so I went ahead and took Chris Thompson.
Makes complete sense. I mean, he is going to be the 3rd down back in Washington. So not a bad play at all. And he showed that when he is healthy, he can be a PPR monster. So
Yeah.
I like it. So in the 8th round, I took Freeman, not Devontae, but Royce Freeman. Out of Denver, who's going to be the bell cow there
I like
in
it.
Denver.
I like
and
that pick a lot.
the more I'm reading, the more I'm hearing from like Denver beat writers and sports analysts and stuff like that about Royce Freeman. You can't pass him up. So,
No. and
Anyways.
the round you got him in was crazy.
right. So I like that. And so then the snake pick came back around, and I got another PPR guy in Duke Johnson. So
Nice.
not bad.
No, I like that too.
So 10th round or 9th round, who did you end up taking?
It came back to me again. Best available to me was Marlon Mack. He's not fighting anybody for competition out there in Indy. I think if Luck's not back, they're going to be run heavy. So I just got Marlon Mack. He can catch too.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, it was between Duke and Marlon Mack, honestly, is what I was looking at. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and go with Duke just because of the uncertainty of Andrew Luck.
Return of the Mack. I had to.
I know, I got
needed
you.
it.
So, all right, who did you end up taking in the 9th round?
I went with another wide receiver in Cooper Kupp.
There you go. Not a bad play.
my
He's
guy.
gonna be the wide receiver 2 and the red zone guy. So
I just don't want to play a quarterback, I guess.
I guess not. Don't worry, you drafted one eventually. So in the 10th round, snake pick, who did you take?
This is where I should have pulled the trigger on the quarterback.
Noticing the
I
trend.
saw
Should've taken
two
one.
available I liked. And I was like, no way, they're both going to go. Everyone's got a quarterback already, need depth everywhere else, right? So I went ahead and took Marquise Goodwin, the wide receiver.
Wide receiver 1 for San Francisco at this point.
Right, thinking something's going to come back to me.
No. It didn't.
Nada.
Nada. Not again. It happened.
Haloti, nada.
Haloti, nada happened.
Wah, wah, wah.
All right. So ended up 10th round coming back. Who did you end up taking in the 10th round?
Well, as soon as I put my headset back on, Jameson Crowder was the
Dang
best
hair.
receiver available, so I picked him up for depth.
Jamison, Crowder, you went literally.
Hey, I did three.
You did throw in Marlon Mack, but you did draft some serious Redskin heavy.
3 of them.
3 of them.
I can't say anything. I went
depth.
Eagle heavy last time. So
True. So, 10th round, I ended up taking Trey Burton as a backup tight end. I like that as a potential. He's no longer in Philly, but I liked him as a tight end there in Chicago. And I do think he's going to be a wide receiver tight end hybrid, so I like his abilities there in Chicago. So, then coming back around the snake pick, I took another quarterback in Matthew Stafford in the 11th round. And
Jerk.
to finish out my draft for the quarterback position. So quarterbacks I got were Newton and Stafford are not bad to have for bye weeks and or injuries. So who did you take in the 11th round?
I figured it'd be time to get a backup quarterback here, so Big Ben was available, so I snagged Big Ben.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen, Trimboli. So
I would've
Trimboli, who did you draft?
Or
at
just
the
kept my
11th
mouth
round?
shut. You guys would have drafted other things. But
No, I was going to grab a backup quarterback.
I was looking at a backup. I just didn't know which one.
So I have to draft a backup as my starter. So I went with Phillip Rivers.
Phillip Rivers.
We say it every year.
He's consistently been in that top 10.
Yeah, he gets drafted way low, but he's always in that top 8, 9, 10.
Right.
Yeah, I think the lowest he's finished is like 14, and that was like a year that the offense was trash. So I like it. I like that as your starting quarterback. I'm not out of I don't dislike that as your starting quarterback, honestly. I mean, and look at your team prior to how many guys depth-wise you got, and,
Right.
and you took a quarterback, your first quarterback in the 11th round.
Seriously, if I would have taken him the round earlier like I normally do, I mean, having putting Goff or Stafford on this team,
Yeah,
I kind of would have loved it.
right. Well, you know what?
Not that I don't dislike Rivers. Like you said, he's a solid play. He's just not that sexy pick every week.
Right. Well, sometimes the steady, consistent player is better. So.
Yep.
Okay, so then to finish out your draft, who did you draft in the final round?
So I'm looking for a home run here now because I need help at
Did you
quarterback.
get
So
that? A home run? No.
Well, Patrick Mahomes.
Maybe a Patrick Mahomes run.
We reached for that one, but it worked.
I like it. Patrick Mahomes, good pick. I liked it.
and I'm done.
And I'm out. All right. I ended up coming.
It came back to me. I just grabbed Sterling Shepard.
All right, and I just finished out with a Martavis Bryant draft pick just because, it is what it is. So, all right, so you got to see the perspectives of the no running back, no wide receiver, and the, as we call it, best available or balanced. I liked it. But
And then back to MG NYC's redraft.
not one wide
not
receiver.
one rookie
rookie.
wide receiver went in a 10-man PPR.
Right.
So
12. Now, it was only 12 rounds, so
true. I mean, you could have taken him in the 13th round, but
still not one went off the board.
well,
Crazy.
it is. All right, well, let's go ahead and wrap up the show today. We want to say thanks again to all of you for tuning in to today's show. Please check us out on our site, thehateful8ff.com, where you can check out our articles and apparel. Make sure you follow our personal accounts at jpickleTH8FF, at jblackburnTH8FF, and at ftrimTH8FF. Don't forget to join the average donation via our Patreon tab on the site, where you can sign up and pre-order the 2018 draft loadout, as well as once the season starts, you'll get your weekly help. Finally, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, which you're watching right now. It's that button somewhere right in this region.
Smash that like button.
It's going to be over here.
Somewhere in that region. So, all right, you got anything else?
Nope.
Nope, I just appreciate
I
Yeah.
appreciate you being a sport and doing the fantasy football princess
The
dress.
Twitterverse responded. I wore the dress.
He owned up to
and
it.
I do it because I love this show.
I appreciate it. So, all right, let's go ahead and get on with the outro.
One more time. There ain't no one like these three. You know you just heard Pickle, Buck, and Bowling. Get the goods talking about nothing but fantasy football. Yeah, it's your year to dominate and to wear that ring. Prepare for the draft and dial in on your craft. Quarterback, the first round is a good choice, you ask? This guy's got first round pick, a favorite? Not so fast. He failed to tune into Hateful Eight. He's a chump finishing